All right, online world, the multiverse. You're listening, I'm listening, you're receiving, I'm receiving. I'm going to start sharing on my YouTube channel these kind of mystical moments that happen. And tune in or tune out. It's up to you what you receive and what not. But the reason that I'm wanting to share these moments is because I'm starting to see the synchronicities and the patternicity in life and in messages and receiving and being open and channeling all these things that I think years ago I would have kind of giggled at, but also been a little bit curious because my whole life there have been so many messages that have come to me through dream space and through numbers and through signs in such ironic and paradoxical and dark and mysterious and mystical ways. And lately it's gotten so pointed and so interesting. And so the mystical moment that I want to share with you now is a moment around forgiveness and around the choices that we make, the choices that I make, and around dreams. Dreams have always been very rich for me my whole life. Since I was a young girl, I would have these dreams where I would see the people from my dreams in this realm. I would meet them someday, sometimes days after a dream, weeks after a dream, years after a dream. I would have sequential, like consequential dreams of new places and new community. And I would start to see that unfold. And I always just took it as chance or coincidence or an act of imagination. And as I've gotten older and I've practiced with lucid dreaming, and I've found teachers that have helped me open my dream space in a powerful way, still such a novice and still learning so much, I'm starting to see the richness that exists in the dream space. And I really feel that there's work being done there when I'm sleeping, and that I'm not actually asleep. I'm moving into these other spaces, but we won't go there right now. But what I want to share is an interesting mystical moment that happened yesterday. I had had a conversation with a friend of a lover of mine, a past lover, an ex-partner. And this ex-partner, we went through a lot of pain together years ago. And that pain still sits with me. And there are so many signs and so many moments in my life that are still bringing this person back, through different messages, seeing different people, different signs. It feels like he's infused in my life, in the tapestry that is my life. He's consistently there, even though I haven't spoken to him in 2 years. And so as I was talking to this mutual friend, it had taken us months to get on the phone to each other. And one of his first questions to me was about a specific subject around a controversial thing that had happened with this ex-partner that I was speaking with somebody about, if I wanted to reach out and I wanted to write a message or a letter to be read to my ex-partner so that he could understand my experience and the pain that I had experienced in relationship to him. And I told him, you know what? I always come back to forgiveness. I always come back to compassion. I always come back to love. I can't even write a letter because I can't stay angry long enough to write the words down, because as soon as I write a sentence, it comes back to a space of love. And so I went through this whole process with him on the phone. And I said, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to say anything. I don't know if there's anything to say. And I'm like, who am I to be the one to give the lesson or to speak of my pain? Because life, whatever is in store, in the multiverse, it will unfold for this person. If he's meant to learn the lesson of the suffering that he's caused, he will learn it. And it doesn't need to be through me. And the part of me that wants it to be through me, what is that part? Is there a righteous part? Is there an egoistic part? Is there a victim part that wants to feel validated, seen, and heard in this? And so there was a lot. I was sitting and observing myself over the weeks if this is something that I wanted to put my energy back into. And so when I got off the phone with him, I said, yeah, I'm not put on this earth to hold a grudge. It's just not in me. I am meant to be a lover. I'm meant to be open-hearted. I'm meant to embrace. It's just who I am. And I always come back to love in the darkest of my teachings, from my mother to the absence of my father to the childhood abuse and the pain of my life. death has like followed, this dark energy has followed, but I have remained light. In the darkest of times, I have remained light, and it's because I forgive. So anyways, I get off the phone with him, and I feel pretty resolute about that. I feel, yeah, I'm on the right path. Like, I want to stay heart open. I don't want to drown in frustration or hate or vengeance. And so I go to sleep, and I had just started to stay at a friend's house. I was teaching a workshop in the UK, and I was staying at a friend's house, and I noticed when I walked into the room that night before I got on the call with this friend that there was a bookshelf right at the headboard of the bed, and on it was Shantaram. I don't know how many people have read this book, but it's been following me for years, and I've never read it because it's gigantic. Like, look at this. This is an insane book, like 900 pages. I mean, come on, Gregory David Roberts. This is ridiculous. So anyhow, this comes before that conversation with a friend. So I had seen it. I made eye contact with the book, and I just thought, this ridiculous book, it's everywhere that I go. And so many friends have said, you've got to read this. It's going to change your life. And so I go to sleep, and I wake up in the morning, and I have a message from a random follower friend that I've gotten to know on Instagram. And she says, hey, I had a dream about you last night, and I don't know if it's relevant to you, but in the dream, you were selling me a pile of used books. And on top of that used pile of books was the book Shantaram. She said, I don't know if that means anything to you, but I thought I would send it to you anyhow, and just in case you're supposed to read it. And I sent her a message. I was like, this is so funny that you send me this right now. It's literally like 2 inches away from my head. And I was like, I guess I'm meant to read this book. And so I get off the phone with her, and I open the book, and I'm like, okay, let me read the first paragraph. And I want to share this with you because I think this is powerful for all of us. And here's the first paragraph. It took me a long time and most of the world to learn what I know about love and fate and the choices we make. But the heart of it came to me in an instant. While I was chained to a wall and being tortured, I realized somehow through the screaming in my mind that even in that shackled, bloody helplessness, I was still free. Free to hate the men who were torturing me or to forgive them. It doesn't sound like much, I know. But in the flinch and bite of the chain, when it's all you've got, that freedom is a universe of possibility. And the choice you make between hating and forgiving can become the story of your life. And the choice you make between hating and forgiving can become the story of your life. So this touched me deeply. And like even now saying it, I just felt in that moment like you are on the right path. Like life is giving you these messages to like keep your heart open, forgive. I know that you went through suffering. I know that you went through pain. I know that it felt like torture. But just trust and love. Just continuously love and love. And it doesn't excuse the torture, but you let go and you forgive and you take your energy back. You take the hooks from the torture and the pain out of you. So I was teaching a workshop on detangling human heartbreak shortly after reading this passage. And this is all about how to heal our own, attachment wounds so that we can come into relationship in a healthy way. And this workshop was so powerful, and it always has its own magic. You can hear the children playing in the background. It always has its own magic. And I got done with that workshop, and I felt so infused with power and energy. And I left after a bit, and I got to the car, and I opened my phone, and again, always in the perfect timings, a message comes from the outside, and it's a 12-minute audio message from this certain ex of mine, his ex as well. And for some reason, she goes into a tangent in a perfect time about her connection to him. And she's going through her own pain, and she's going through her own story of this. And in it, she reveals more deceptions that I didn't know about in relationship to him. And so all of a sudden, all that rage that had been like, oh, forgive, compassion comes up again. Because so many times, years after this relationship, more deceptions are uncovered. And the egoistic part of me feels, you lied to me, you betrayed me, you deceived me. And like the lion comes out, and I'm just like, ah. So I was sitting in that rage. And I had gotten home and it was almost midnight, and I shouldn't have been on my phone anyway before going to sleep. And I was just exhausted. And this is what I was left with going into the dream space, just anger, just rage. And as soon as I finished that 12-minute message and was in the peak of my rage, I received another message from a friend in Bali that I hadn't spoken to in 3 years. And he said, "Hey, Echo, are you okay? I just had a dream that was really disturbing. Let me know when you're around. I would love to share it with you if you're interested." And I was like, yes, share it with me, but I need to go to sleep. I'll check in the morning when I wake up. So I couldn't go to bed for quite some time. I was laying there and I was stewing, in my anger. In a way, you could say I was drowning in my anger and my frustration. I was going in my mind of all the times I had been lied to and deceived, and how much work I had done on myself to take accountability and not be the victim and be independent, be the bigger person. But still, just the energy inside of me was like bubbling up. And I woke up in the morning after having a tough night of sleep and some interesting dreams. And I had a message from my friend, and he said, "Let me give you a call. I'm going to tell you about this dream." So he calls me and he says, "I don't know if this dream means anything to you, but it's a really strange dream." And he's like, "You and I were sitting at the edge of a body of water, and there was a table in front of us, and there was a dead body on it. And you were sitting beside me, and I couldn't see you, but I knew it was your energy. And this dead body, we were just looking at it, and it looked like it had been lifeless for some time. Its stomach was bloated, and it looked like it had been there for some time. And I really wanted to look away from it, but for some reason we were just there. We were present with it." And he goes, "At some point it started to twitch, and when it began to twitch, it startled me." And he goes, "And then as it twitched, it rolled over off of this table into the water." And he goes, "I didn't notice because it was so quick, but I don't know if you were connected to it or you jumped in after it." But he said, "You went right in after him." And he goes, "And as I came to the edge of the water, I looked down, and you were so deep down in the water with this dead body, and you were just with it. And at some point you looked up and you reached your arm up, and I grabbed your arm and I pulled you up, and you just stared into my eyes, and we just held this gaze, and no smile, nothing, no, just I pulled you out." And he goes, "I don't know if that means anything to you, but I wanted to tell you." And I just thought, yeah, I'm not going to drown in my anger. I'm not going to drown in the story of this dead relationship, this dead connection. This person has taken so much of my energy. And I felt like something lifted when he told me that. And I thought, I'm grieving the death of something that I really believed in. I'm grieving the death of something that I really saw as love. And I'm seeing now, yes, there was love. Like I had love. I opened my heart. But there was so much toxicity on both sides, so much pain, so much suffering, so much shadow. And through my friend telling me this dream, I realized like this is the moment to let go, to not drown with this person, to not drown in their misery and their darkness and their shadow, and to have a friend, like allow my friends to like pull me up and to help me. I don't need to be so independent and sovereign, and I need no one, but to start over again. And so I'm starting over again, and I'm not drowning in my anger. I still forgive. I keep my heart open, and I'm going to do my best to stay in that absolute love that's not relative, where the heart is constantly expanding and contracting and expanding and contracting, but staying open, even despite the pain that we feel, even despite the betrayal and the deception, and just like know that I'm here to love. I'm here to love. And so this was my mystical moment of the day. And I wanted to share this with you because I do feel that there's magic in the dream space and in the wake space. And I do feel more and more like when I go into dream space, I go to this new earth, this place of community. I see new ways of relating, new ways of working with anger, new ways of being in my body, new ways of being in love and sexuality and sensuality. And something that came to me today is like, I don't think that I'm dreaming. I think that I live there. I live in this new earth. I live in this new place. And when I open myself to that and the wisdom of it, somehow that timeline begins to seep into this timeline, and the two begin to merge together, in this infinite way. And I'm just open to receive. I'm open to receive what life wants to tell through me and what life wants to give to me, and these messages that are so pointed towards like what I need to hear in the moment show me that I'm on the right track. And I'm going to do my best to stay, faithful to opening my heart and keeping it open and loving and forgiving. So that is the mystical moment of the day.